Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm putting an end to my pursuit of being a 99.9 percentile chess player because I had an epiphany. I realized that if I go to my profile and then my friends page, I am by far not the highest rated player in my friends list. So if we scroll down, you can see I'm actually number 28, rated 2086. So obviously if you go to my profile, you can see the percentile that I'm at right now, which is 99.8. So my thought was I go back and I just go up until I find somebody that's 99.9. I don't need to go too high up. For example, if I go to Will Taylor Chess, shout out him on YouTube, you can see he's rated 2168. If we click on his profile, I mean, almost guaranteed, yeah, he's ranked in the 99.9th percentile as a 2168 rated rapid player. So I go back and now I just go a little bit lower. If he's 2168 with a 99.9, then what about somebody who is 2135? Professor K, we've played him before on the channel. 2135 is also 99.9. Perfect. Let's see if we can go even further. 2135. Let's go down to maybe 2120. Oh, this is not updated because this is 2200 and the previous page said you were 2120. So let's go a little bit lower. 2110. 2110 is still, oh no, this person is also not updated. 2120 is 99.9. So I'm only 40 points away at most. What about just 2100 flat? 2100 flat is not quite enough. This person is basically 2100 flat and they are 99.8. So we know for a fact that if I want to be a 99.9 percentile player, I have to be rated more than 2100, somewhere in the realm of 2110, 2120. So let's get started with game number one. All right, game number one, we do get the white pieces and we're paired with a 2090 opponent. So they're actually higher rated than we are, and I'm already at an all-time high rating. So this should be quite fun. They do play the Dutch. I did style the Dutch for quite a while, and I think it influences a lot of my ideas of playing knight to f3, knight to e5 to hunt for that center knight, because in the Dutch, that is exactly what they're going for. They're throwing an f5 pawn out, which looks a little bit eccentric, but it does help support that center square for their knight. So we're coming at this with not dissimilar ideas. Apologies for the double negative, but surely you understand the sentiment. We get bishop to b7, go and play knight to d2. I mean, I'm going to go with the same idea as well. They play the variation where you sort of fianchetto the bishop and support the center that way. I used to play the version where you play d5, c6, and that's how you support e4 a little bit more. We get bishop to e7, we'll play bishop to e3. I'm not totally sure where this pawn ends up. If it ends up on d6, that's a huge bummer because knight to e5 is impossible, although e6 does become a little weak. If they do play d5, wonderful news for me. They entomb their own bishop, and e5 is open sesame for me. Now, I'm not really sure how to go about this. I guess queen c2? They might also just play something like c5, which is a little bit more of an enigmatic approach. They do attack the center, they keep their diagonal open, the knight can still come to the middle, but it's not so clear that they want a flat-out kingside attack because of that advance on the queen side, that tension that's created here. Okay, they do go with d6, which for me is bad news because knight to e5 is no longer possible. That's basically my favorite idea ever to play with. The good news is maybe like knight g5 is possible, queen d7 has to come and defend it, but the problem is I don't really see how I reinforce that attack. Maybe like bishop c4 and then I force d5? I could do that. It would waste a couple of my tempo, but it would waste a couple of theirs as well, and eventually I can sort of maneuver the position into the classic knight to e5 that I like to play. So we'll try that on for size. Knight g5, targeting the pawn. You'd imagine the queen is the only one that can defend. Maybe even just queen b3 is fine. I don't need to place the bishop here necessarily, right? Because if I place the queen here, d5 doesn't force me to do anything. I can just go back with the knight and look for e5, but if I play bishop c4, d5, I have to address the bishop right away. Is there any way the opponent can stop that? Knight d5, bishop c4, I guess they could just take. But I don't know, e6 looks really weak there. I'm gonna go queen b3. If they do want to play into that and double my pawns on the f-file, I think I'm game for that. That looks really interesting. I mean, those are exactly the kind of words you say, and there's knight d5, and regret in about 5 moves, but sometimes they're also the words you say before you have an amazing idea. So we do get knight to d5, targets the bishop. Now the thing is, if I play bishop c4, I am threatening the knight, but the bishop can always recapture, target my queen, and target g2. Is that really a big concern? No, because ultimately I want a kingside attack anyways, but it's a little bit pesky. I don't know. Let's play bishop c4 and have some sort of pressure on their position. It's not perfect, and it's also probably not enough, but it's something. I do like that general sort of approach that if you're applying pressure to the opponent's position, even if you don't actually see where it goes, usually it's a good thing regardless, as long as it doesn't completely destabilize your position. Okay, so a5 looks for a4 to get rid of this queen and bishop battery that we have. Should I take, the opponent would take back, I would have to move my queen out of the way, or maybe I could play like c4. c4, but then bishop takes, and then I'm fighting with an open file here and an open position over here. So if I do take, the bishop takes, I would probably just move the queen back. I don't know, I've given them the bishop pair, e5 is possible, the knight is a little bit estranged over here. It's not ideal, I'll be honest, it's really not. Yeah, the problem is I don't think I have have better. So I'm just going to go ahead and take right away. Yep, and I will play c4. If I do have to play on both fronts, I definitely will. Ooh, a4, a little intermezzo hits the queen. I'll go ahead and shuffle her out of the way. Kind of intentionally to c3 so that in the long run, if somehow, oh, they do take, I have like rook to g1 and maybe there's like d5, queen g7. Likely, no, because the queen is right there. There's no way for me to open this up right away, but yeah, it's possible. Might as well have it on the board. Actually, this is possible. Takes d5, then queen to f7 comes into play, bishop here, g6. They're probably totally fine there. So I won't lean into it quite yet. I will castle out of the way, but there's ideas. You can sort of see where the juices sort of start to flow a little bit. You know, some combination there might be interesting. But of course, the opponent is no fool. Plays bishop to f6, both controlling the long diagonal to set up their own attack and probable sort of breakthrough, and defending g7 doubly, which is bad news for us. So how do I continue this attack? Or do I continue this attack? e5 is also kind of incoming, but I don't know, that opens up the file for me, which I think I like. I'm going to play a3 for now. There's no direct way. Oh, there is. I guess there is a direct way for the knight to go to b3, but maybe we have it defended enough. We do get pawn to c5, puts pressure on that center d4 pawn. They are playing into this idea very heavily, but I guess they're sort of using that principle that any engagement on this side of the board has to be good for them, because that's where my king is and where their king is not. Yeah, and suddenly I'm not so sure what to make of this. Maybe just like knight to f3. I mean, this knight is the only one defending this one, so if they uproot this knight with like h6, I might have to play something crazy like knight to e5. Should they take, I take back. The rook sees the queen, the pawn sees the bishop, and then maybe somehow I'm fighting for an attack on the king's side at that point. It's all very muddy and very murky, and I probably should have played this differently. Okay, we do get queen to e7, more pressure on this knight. You'd imagine d5 is of interest, maybe, oh, actually none of these moves can happen. The bishop is still looking at the queen. All right, let's keep our head on our shoulders, Tony. I guess I should move this queen out of the way so this isn't a pin anymore. I don't know, I'm a little concerned because h6 is incoming regardless. So unless I like full lean into it with like h4 and just allow them to take, I'm not looking too hot there. Yeah, I really don't know what to make of this. Queen c2, h6, uproots the knight. I take, they take, I take here. Oh, it's so questionable. It's so very questionable, very dubious. This square is weak, but this knight barely holds on. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, you know it's bad when you're considering ideas like rook g3 to defend the knight to move this knight to the side of the board. I mean, that genuinely looks like the kind of ugly maneuver that I might have to do here. That is, if the opponent even gives me the chance to get that far. Pretty much our only saving grace here is that there's this little silly tactic that somehow has survived. Should the opponent take, we get to centralize the knight, and then we're targeting e6 and d6 as well. So hopefully that little complication is enough to cause them to misstep somehow. Because you'd imagine they have to defend d6 somehow. They either push or they play rook d8. I'd assume that's sort of what they're calculating right now. Oh, they do take. That seems probably like the best outcome for us. Oh, if I take e5, I take here. Maybe if I take, they're just going to take with the bishop. But then I take back with the pawn. And suddenly I don't think I have as many issues in that position. I mean, if anything, now I have like rook c8 and any one of these pawn pushes that I have to deal with. But we can face that when we get there. Oh, there's so much to calculate here. Should they take, right? Because if they look for e5 right now, I just take here and I have tempo on the queen. But should they take on d4 and I do take with the rook, I mean, I could take with the pawn and there's no fork there, but then the tempo goes back to them and they can set up whatever attack they want. But if I do take with the rook, I kind of invite pawn to e5. Yeah, of course they're going to lean into that. Okay, if this doesn't work, then I'll just take with the pawn. But I want to calculate it. Rook takes, I only have 3 minutes. e5. Oh, I don't know why I thought there was a tactic there somehow. Yeah, I don't think there's anything there at all. I think I just have to take and allow rook to c8, which stinks, but I don't really think I have a better opportunity. Yeah, the problem is all these light squares are super weak ever since that bishop disappeared. So, you know, rook to c8, scary. Bishop to e4 at some point is scary. e5 anyways is very weird though. Wait a minute. Why e5 anyways? I'm definitely going to take and open up my rook. They do take back, targets the bishop. Somehow not the scariest thing I've ever seen. Oh, if I go back f4, so I have to go all the way back and threaten b4 instead? I think I'm okay with that. The knight lives. It's held on by the rook. It's just the bishop that didn't have that many squares to move to. So we reroute it either to the long diagonal or just to b4 for another silly tactic. I guess knight c6 stops it, but then bishop c3? I don't know. It looks really good for me, I think. Somehow we've at least seemingly weathered the storm, which is nice. I mean, h6 is still possible, and then bishop e4 is a huge pain, but yeah, we do get knight to c6, so we'll play bishop c3. Bishop to e4 just can't be a stressor anymore because of that knight, so I guess that knight might want to come this way, and then we like trade. I mean, these two squares are fine. Those are covered. It's a knight landing on b3 that I'm concerned about, but I guess maybe the king just shuffles over and I don't care. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I will care eventually because he's going to land on a very weak set of light squares. So should that knight try to come around, we do get h6 in anticipation of probably some sort of setup like that. I have to move this knight. Knight to f3, knight a5. I don't know. Looks not great, but I don't really think I have a choice. A free knight on a diagonal where a bishop stares down. What are the odds that ends well for me? 0. There's no universe in which that ends well. I don't know, maybe knight a5 I like take? Looking at this, and I have to go for counterplay? Check is forced. Bishop e4. Ugh, looks really bad. Yeah, I think if knight a5 I just have to take. And then what? The question is, what on earth do I look for at that point? Because bishop e4 is doomsday incoming, and the rook's gonna look down these files no matter what I do. Ooh, rook to f7 is a defensive move. Wait a minute. Why is the opponent playing defense? Hold your horses. There's defense on the board. Why? Why is the question? Oh, maybe I should stop asking questions and start figuring out where my attack is. Maybe just knight to h4? Oh, knight to h4 is free. Okay, let's use our head. Maybe rook to e1? I wonder if e4 is what they're preparing. If it is, that's very odd because it seems to just open up the bishop. Yeah, and it blockades their own? I'm not so sure about that move. I can't hate on the opponent too much because I'm pretty sure they're crushing us, but that move I find suspicious. Yeah, and the knight's now been traded off. Somehow I still have a bishop on the board looking at g7. There are opportunities here. Let me just not flag so I actually have a chance to play for them. Like f3 here makes a lot of sense. Roots the rook in case I ever want to sacrifice and replace, and it targets e4. b5, I just push past. Again, they have a light squared bishop, so I always have a dark squared bishop defending c5. Sure, f3. So unless they want to sacrifice the exchange, which is possible, there are probably even tactics where I lose the queen with a pin of some kind, but I'll try to avoid that. Unless they want to sacrifice the exchange, I think I'm the one with the initiative a little bit now. Yeah, queen to e6 looks for what? a2? I don't know, it gives me a good reason to shuffle over and get off of this file, so I will definitely pounce on it. A little bit scary if queen to b3 takes, somehow I'm restricted. Bishop to e5? Do I take and open up the bishop? Why on earth would I do that? But if I push e3, what an interesting position. There's also this sacrifice. Takes, rook g1. I just don't think I have follow-up there. Let's go queen c3. I'm gonna try to line up the sacrifice a little bit more forcefully. I mean, it's not a sacrifice yet, because should I take, I just win the pawn. So right now it's a direct attack. But if they defend with the queen, then I take, they take, I take. Oh, but I don't have a replacement there. Rook c7 anyways. Let's go here and target the rook. And then maybe just f4 and root the bishop there. If they push the pawn and force bishop e4, I really can't do anything about that. They do have less time than we do now, which is nice. Not by a lot, but still nice. We'll play f4 and root the bishop. And since this rook does nothing, I guess I either double it or give it to the next person. No, I'm kidding. Or rook to c1, and then I push c6. I'd imagine those are my two clear ideas. Okay, queen c6 stops that idea. I guess I'll play rook e3 so this isn't possible, and then I'll just try to double up the rooks. They have way less time than we do, and there's nowhere for this pawn to escape. Oh, g5 actually would be interesting. Luckily, the bishop is defended by the queen, so I don't think there's a follow-up there. Yeah, rook g3. If they do play check, I shuffle out of the way. The queen never makes it to a2. It's just impossible. Oh, queen takes c5 I had not seen. Takes. And then check on g1. Okay, bishop back to d4, I guess. If they do play check, I guess I have to move this way, but they move the queen back instead. So maybe this does work now? I don't know. They have 5 seconds left. In real life, in the real world, the only way I win this is flag. Yeah, and they do time out, so we win that game on time, even though this is probably completely losing. In fact, I'm going to take a moment to pop up the game review. Even though I typically wouldn't, I think I need to do a little bit of self-exposing here because there's no way that was any good for me. Yeah. Oh, well, it's a little more even than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I played like a 1700 apparently. Oh my goodness, 68% accuracy, absolutely terrible. I mean, it's one of those super technical positions that have a lot of interactions. So neither my opponent nor I, oh, you guys can't see that all the way down. Look at that. And both of us tried to break 2100. I mean, those ratings aren't incredibly accurate anyways, but I didn't even get a single great move. Just a messy position overall. It was weirdly even the entire time. Oh, actually, no, that's -2. That didn't look like a big jump, but -2 all the way through is interesting. Okay, so it was even right here. What on earth did I do? Oh, it was that bishop capture. Yeah, I have all my pawns on dark squares. Why on earth would I get rid of my light squared bishop? Anyways, what should I have played there? What was the best move? No, not for them, silly. Give me my best move. All right, instead of bishop takes d5, I should have just played a4 and held down the fort. Yeah, a little bit of a rookie mistake. I saw tension in the center and I just went to trade it off. Okay, well, we're rated 2094 now. We know for a fact that's not enough for the 99th percentile, so let's get this out of here and go back to the playing to play a new game. All right, this time we are playing against another 2090 rated opponent. What is that flag? Montenegro. Interesting. We get pawn to d4, pawn to d5, and let's play symmetrical, please. After that last game, I yearn for nothing more than a perfect perfectly symmetrical game. Give me bishop f4 and then bishop to f5. Then give me knight to f3 and then knight to f6. Give me pawn to e3, then pawn to e6. Oh, they're thinking quite a bit on the second move. Okay, a full minute for move number 2 makes me think they're either writing me a message or something is going on in real life for them right now. There's literally nothing for me to think about. We're on move number 2. Oh, there we go. Pawn to c4. I guess I feel like a lot of players that play this don't actually take because they play the queen's gambit. Let's go c6. If they do make me take with the c pawn, it's not a position that I'm super excited to play, but yeah, I feel like they usually don't take. Now I think I can just play knight to f6. The problem is, will I have the guts to play this and allow queen to b3 targeting b7? Like, I probably shouldn't. I probably should just play e6, right? e6, and I play a little bit passive. This bishop, sheds a tear or two. That's its own problem. And maybe I transition into a Dutch of some kind. Wow, early a3. I mean, I guess they're looking for b4, b5. I mean, more power to them, but yeah, whenever I see this move, that screams e5 as fast as I can possibly muster it up. Yeah, b4. I will castle first so that I don't have to worry about my king, but e5 is next. Because the problem with this, it's not really a problem. It's just my reasoning is that if you're going to launch a nuclear level attack on my queen side, but my king isn't over there right now, then I really don't have a lot to worry about. What I'm going to do is counterattack. Go for the center. If you castle kingside, I'll close the center and go for the kingside even more. Now we take with the knight. Bishop to f3. You'd imagine bishop g4 here is very amusing. I don't think it actually does anything, but it's very amusing. Should the knight take? We take on e2. Queen takes. Bishop takes. I mean, I guess it trades a lot of things off, but I don't know. This bishop isn't going to do much else anyways. So we'll go bishop to g4. If the king does castle, do I have a direct attack yet? Which the king does. I don't think so. Should I take? I just trade everything off. And I don't think there's any reason for me to do that quite yet. So what should I do here? Let's go queen to e7 and reinforce the knight. We can bring the other rook into the game at some point, maybe h6, so that if we do trade off a whole bunch of pieces, there's never back rank. And just making these sort of small improvements to the position. Okay, h3 tries to dethrone the bishop because right now it's defended twice. If I move it back, it's only defended once. It's also inviting me to just trade again, which I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I should just trade things off. Let's start with check. So if they take with the pawn, I jump for joy because of how nude the king would be. But if they do take with the bishop, then I guess I should just trade everything off. Okay. There is queen to e5, which threatens this. The only way to defend it is g3. I like that. I think it looks interesting. So we'll give it a try. So if they don't play g3, it's mate in 1. If they move the rook over, I'd probably play check anyways and uproot the king. But as far as I can tell, yeah, g3 is the only way to stop that for certain. So how do I continue to bug their position? I could play knight h5 and threaten this. I mean, the bishop is pinned to the knight. So if I play this, king would come forward. There's never going to be an actual sacrifice there, though, because I don't have enough pieces. Let's go queen to e6 and target h3 instead. I like where we're at the moment. I don't see the finish line yet, but everything looks pretty active. I can bring the rook over in a second. Probably knight to e4. I mean, the whole position, my entire pawn structure kind of points in this general direction. So funneling the pieces through this route shouldn't be too counterintuitive. We get pawn to h4, weakens g4, weakens h3, but again, I don't have a light squared bishop, so there's not a whole lot of follow-up that actually comes from that. Let's go this. Rook to e8, reinforce e4, knight to e4 at some point, maybe h6 again, create that escape square. Just doing basic ideas. We get knight to e2, opens up the enemy's bishop, which is usually not good news for me. But right now, I have knight to e4, right? And I'm threatening knight to e2 with the fork. And as far as I can tell, the opponent doesn't actually have a way to coordinate for g7, just because I literally cover that square right now. If they do look for knight to d4, I probably just move out of the way. Okay, we get rook to d1, immediately defending knight d2. f5 here, super tempting. If we do get knight to d4, I just shuffle over. And I don't think I'm punished at all for grabbing this extra space. Knight to f4, I didn't actively consider because I thought I could just trade this off. But then again, that weakens all of these dark squares horrendously. But at the same time, I have no interest in leaving that knight alone there. This is a tough call. Because here's the thing, if I do move my queen back, we're sort of even on tension. And I had the notion that I was fighting for a win, which sometimes you do have to concede. So I'll be aware of that. But if I do take, there's an immediate imbalance in the position. I have a knight, the opponent has a bishop. Now, right now the center is closed, so I would argue I'm probably better off with the knight. The problem is I don't see a continuation after that. I mean, the only thing I can see happening is something like this. They go for f3 and I try to fight for g3 and make the argument that that's weak enough that they can't uproot my knight. But other than that, the bishop just flies around my position very comfortably, so I don't think I can go for that trade. Instead, let's go queen to h6. And what I can do is look for g5, right? If I get this trade on the board, then I can probably make the argument that maybe I'll take with the bishop. Actually, you know what? Maybe I just play bishop e5. Maybe I just say, oh, you want to be on the long diagonal? Well, me e2. Now how do we do this? Yeah, we do get queen to h5, so they want to trade queens, which makes sense. Let's see, if I take, they take back, they're targeting g7, I play bishop e5, they take, I take, knight goes back to f4. I don't know, it stinks of draw, but it might be my best bet here. Yeah, because I can't just allow this queen to jump into my position and hijack my whole operation over here. Okay, they do take back, took them a second, we'll play bishop to e5, meet fire with fire. Only move I can really imagine here is the bishop takes, or maybe they defend their bishop. Yeah, they do take back, we'll go ahead and take, then probably knight to f4 because it doesn't do anything on the side of the board anymore, right? And this is the position we anticipated. I might just play king to f7. I don't, there's g5. Yeah, let's go king to f7. I know it seems a tiny bit premature, but I'm looking for h6, g5 and get rid of this as fast as possible because believe it or not, there are still plenty of attacking ideas. You just have to be the first one to them. We'll play h6. If they play f3 and I move my knight, it doesn't look great, but I don't know. We'll play g5 right away. Only choice they have is to either trade and then move the knight or move the knight right away. Maybe to h3, I don't know. Yeah, they do trade. We'll go ahead and take back. I'm very curious to see where they decide to place their knight. And then h5 is kind of a non-option because the knight just gets trapped. Or I guess they could sack for a pawn and then move back, but yeah, knight to e2 makes more sense. Now, this rook on e5 doesn't do anything. There's an h file that needs to be fought for. We have a little bit of a space advantage, but I can't really grab much more without overextending. So I'm gonna play rook to h8, grab the open file, and then maybe this this rook comes down this route to defend and fight for the h file as well. Okay, we do finally get f3, uproots the knight. I'm clicking to see if new legal squares appear, but as far as I can tell, knight to f6 is the only sound move for the knight. We'll play that, knight to f6. They can definitely force some stuff to happen here. I just don't think it's in their favor. Yeah, rook to h1. Do we reinforce or do we take and then play the rook back? I think both kind of lead to the same situation. Actually, no, I'm going to take first because then the rook comes back and it threatens the h file, but it's still looking at the e pawn. So if the opponent ever plays rook d1, then I take. Okay, the king comes out first, so the opponent doesn't fall for that easy peasy tactic. What do we do now? If I play rook to h8, I'm not even really sure what I'm fighting for there. Let's reroute the knight. He's a little bit overdue. I mean, he's fine looking at these squares. If they ever do weaken, I mean, I can come back. But as far as I can tell, he's not doing much there. We'll play, let's go king to f6. So if the rook ever moves away, knight to e6 is also covered. We're looking for knight to e5, knight c4. Puts a lot of pressure on the position. f4 stops knight to e5. I think I want g4 here though, because it keeps two backwards pawns instead of just one, right? Should I trade off? They get rid of at least one of them. And now I can definitely consider king g6 and then putting the knight back on e4, maybe fighting for the h file, putting pressure on g3. I just think white has more weaknesses than I do in this position. Knight back to e2. I have no idea where that knight thinks it's going. Knight c3, this is all covered. Knight g1, this is all covered. I don't really think that knight is going anywhere. That seems like a random move. Let's play, might even just be a waiting move. Let's play king to g6, trying to get the knight out to e4. Because what I can't do is just leave him back here as decoration. He needs to actually be out there doing something. Right, we'll play knight f6, looking for knight e4, now with check, which is cool. Now comes with a check. Oh, knight c3 just to cover e4. Okay, we'll slide over and target the back rank. But the king comes over and stops us. But rook to h3. Looking for knight to h5. There are more than one road that lead to Rome. I just pulled the Michael Scott. That has nothing to do with what the original saying is. But we get pawn to a4. I mean, it does, but misused. We get knight to we have knight to h5 on the board. The only way to defend g3. Oh, actually, no, knight back to e2. Wait a minute. Maybe rook to h3 just looks cool, but doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, because now they're looking for the queenside attack, and I think this is overcommitted. Okay, we'll retreat the rook. If we do get b5, I guess I kind of just let them take, and then we're fighting for b7 as well. Yeah, but we do get b5. If I play knight d7, who defends this? Takes. I think that might have been played a little too fast. I think I have knight to d7 now targeting c5 with no defense. Oh, unless they move the knight out of the way, and then when I take, it's rook c3. They look at the knight and they look at the pawn behind it. That would be a really interesting find. But okay, maybe I allow this and just have pressure on c5. They do take, I will take back. There's still pressure on c5. The only way that I see to defend it is to move the knight out of the way. Reroute to d4 perhaps. If I take, we have rook c3. If I take again, there's rook takes. My king is a little bit weirdly placed there. Yeah, that's exactly what they look for. Let's go here. And I want to get to b7 before I want to get to the b file before the opponent. Idea being, if they do try to fight for the b file, we have this, and then we're looking at c5. And I guess they wouldn't even be able to move back there. there. Yeah, a5. We'll go to b7, looking to get into that second rank, and then knight to e4. Obviously, we have this weakness on c6, but I think my counterattack justifies it. And I know it's strange. I only have a knight and a rook, and I'm looking to basically mate or somehow otherwise tangle the opponent, but they're so restricted here. You know, they only have really these two ranks to move on. So if I can somehow coordinate my knight and my rook to cause them problems back there, then it's all justified. So for example, let me give a for instance. Just check alone drops g3 right away because the king cannot stay on that second rank. Oh, we get rook to b3 with the trade. Yes, that is a move. Should I take? They take back. I take, they take my pawn. Am I fighting for advantage there? I don't really know. I mean, they stopped my counterplay. I could also just take, and then when the knight takes back, it's stuck defending c5, which looks kind of nice. Okay, we'll do that. They have an outpost, I have an outpost. This stinks of a draw already. We'll play a6, so that when I take, I immediately defend a6, and this is never a passed pawn. I guess they just go knight to d4. Oh, they do go knight. I was going to say, I guess they just move their king, but I think I just take here. They take here. This is amusing. Very, very amusing. I defend this, they defend that. You'd imagine the king has to come into play now, but I don't want to give them the offense. If I play this, that knight is stuck, which I do like the idea of. So knight b3, they have check. Oh, I move over, they take with check again. I move over again. They play here, they drop the pawn, but I drop the pawn as well. My king is more active. They have two backward pawns, but I have a pawn less. Oh, but they go for b4 instead, which means I can take. So maybe we'll have the same number of pawns. Okay, I will move over to come defend d5. Knight c4 is pretty natural at some point as well. They stop. Oh, they stopped me from defending the pawn. Well played. Luckily, I have knight c4. I have to admit I didn't calculate that, but luckily I have knight c4, and then king shuffles over. Their knight only defends e3 one way, so they have to move away, and then I take back. Yeah, that was a very lucky getaway right there. Again, this stinks of a draw, which kind of stinks because neither of us get points from that, but it was a well-played game. I mean, there's still chess to be played. I still have to hold on for the draw. Oh, and I have less than a minute. I see. Okay, let's go here. They're gonna walk my king away as far as they can. Oh, it might not be a draw. Okay, let's go here because they still have this extra pawn that they can hold on to. Very, very amusing. Oh, and if they play here and I play this way, oh no, they play check to push me away. I have 46 seconds. Okay, I need to play fast. I mean, if the opponent allows me to flag them, I will, but I have a funny feeling this leads to repetition somehow. Oh, they allow me to get check. Wait a minute. 7 seconds and g3 is gone, which means f4. Oh, f4 follows, but maybe if I allow this pawn to survive, but they won't. They won't allow that pawn to survive. I mean, I could play this. That's kind of cheap, but I hold on for just a little bit longer. But with 2 seconds left, I do have to take, and it is a forced draw. Well played to the opponent. We don't get any points from that, but it was a good game. We'll go ahead and play one more. One more against Queen, Lightning McQueen. Rated 2069, we'll play a normal London. Sure, e3. We're playing against a Queen's, not a Queen's Gambit, a Queen's Indian. Yeah, c5. Where this pawn ends up will determine a lot. We'll go ahead and take it. Probably ends up on d6 like 99% of the time. At least that's what it feels like. Because d5 is just stops everything. But d6 controls a lot. Ooh, bishop takes. I will take with the queen targeting the rook. And we do get d5. Wait a minute. Check? That seems kind of weak. I don't know. It might be fine, but it seems weird. What if I play bishop c6? Rook here. Here? Is that necessary? Probably not, but it looks cool. So bishop c6, these two squares are covered. The rook has to go to c8. I play bishop b7. Where on earth do you place that rook? That's very suspicious. I don't know. Do I play that and play for the exchange? Or do I just go for my normal attack? I think I do. Yeah, bishop c6. I don't know. There's something weird going on over here, and I want to find out what it is. Bishop b7. Where does that rook go now? All of these squares are covered. So the only choice is to give up the exchange somehow. I mean, maybe like rook c7. I take, they take. Bishop goes back. I come back home. They do none of that. I just win the rook outright. I don't win the rook, that is. I win the exchange outright. Bishop goes back. I'm pretty sure I just escape. Okay, so we're up the exchange, which is nice. They have this battery now looking to h2. Go ahead and bring the bishop home first. e5 leads to some probably uncomfortable trades, and they do castle. If I castle this way, I don't think I'm faster than them. So I think I have to castle, and even though I give up the pawn, king to h1, g3 is a trappy idea, so they have to move back, and maybe somehow I have like king here and then rook to h1, and I actually make them create that semi-open file. Oh, e5, never mind. So I think they're going to force us to trade, because if I don't take, then e4 is a problem. If I play here, takes, kind of looks interesting too, to be honest. We would both have isolated pawns, so maybe that's not bad. Let's go bishop to f5. I don't want to just fix their position for them. They do play e4, they insist, which means I'll shuffle over. I have this battery and I have this now as well. h2 is now defended, f3 is incoming, but rook to e1 is probably necessary first, so e3 isn't an idea. Hold on, let me grab a soda real quick. Okay, I return one Fanta Richer to c6. G6. What do I do about you, G6? I mean, obviously I could trade. I could just move back and allow them to trade, allow them to play H5. I guess I have to take pretty much. I don't think I really have. I'm imagining choices where there really isn't one. Let's go rook to E1, continue with the F3 idea. We'll break open the center. Ooh, they are going to fight tooth and nail to hold on to that center. I will try to break it down anyways. Okay, we get bishop to F4. Start taking advantage of these sort of weak dark squares. Should I take? Obviously, they just pick up my knight. If I move out of the way, I guess they want E3, but then I have G3, so that doesn't really work. I don't really have anywhere better for my knight, so I guess knight B3 is going to be the move. I don't know, I'm not super convinced by my position yet, because the problem is you can be up the exchange, and, you know, by the traditional counting of material, I would be up 2 points, which is why it says +2 down here. But if you can't open up files and then play along ranks, then the movement of the rook really isn't all that valuable to you. Should we take? Maybe if we can put more pressure on that bishop, we somehow have some sort of idea there. I don't know, I think I just have to take and I'll figure out the rest later. I need to start opening up something. They pretty much have to take with this pawn. If they take with the knight, actually maybe they could take with the knight. If they take with this pawn though, we have queen e6. They take with, okay, they do take with the knight. Interesting. I don't know why that seemed like not the right move for some reason, but it might be. Let's go, if I play queen to f3, bishop h2 suddenly works again, because g3 is no longer an idea. I mean, I could just go g3 right away. That seems kind of amusing. They could sacrifice, and that would be a very fun idea to play into, but more than likely they'll just move back. I mean, bishop d6 is also kind of my ideal move, because it gives me the opportunity to play queen to h6, which is not for a kingside attack. My queen is not doing anything by herself. It's just to hold on to d2, so I can play knight to d2, the queen protects it, and then I find a way to trade off that e4 knight. If they do I think they're actually calculating the sacrifice. If they do sacrifice, you know, maximum respect for going for that attack. I don't think it's concrete. I mean, there's like loosely some f4 ideas that hold on to the bishop somehow, but it just seems to open up my position way too much. Bishop to g5, so they hold on to d2, even though the battery dissipates. Interesting. I'm genuinely not sure what to make of this. I just feel super restricted. I really don't know. I'm going to play rook to e2 and buy myself a move. I don't know how I break through this position. I mean, queen g2, h4 seemed like an idea, but then g3 is weak. Yeah, the queen comes down, so somebody has to defend that rook, which will probably be the queen. I wanted to keep the queen in case the f-pawn push ever comes. I have check, but even then, the queen alone isn't going to do anything by herself, so she might as well come back and coordinate with the other pieces. Yeah, queen to d3, holy smokes. Welcome to my position, uninvited guest. What do I do here? I don't know. Rook to f3, check, rook back, a2 drops. So where does this knight actually go? Knight c1? Maybe knight c1 is what I need to do. Let's just try that. Knight c1. Should they take? I just take back. I mean, I don't even know if the opponent has a follow-through idea, but I will say their position is so oppressive that it makes me already feel like I have to break out of it somehow. Luckily, the queen moves back. I guess I could play this and sort of inadvertently offer a repetition, but yeah, of course they're not interested. Wait, what about knight d2? They take, I take, they take, I take. We're actually even on material. Maybe that's what I want, knight d2. I'm just gonna give them back the exchange and just get me out of this nightmare. I guess they pick up a2 as well, but then I'm fighting for the e file. And if I'm fighting for the e file and they're not, then I think I'm better. So I think we should come out of the other side of this completely even. They don't really have a choice, I don't think, but to lean into it, because otherwise I'm just displacing that knight for free completely. Yeah, so they do take, I will take back. They do take, I will take back. I don't want the exchange ever again. You can keep the exchange. I just never want to be in a position like that. Okay, we're free now from the bonds of whatever that nightmare was. Yeah, and they do fight for the e-file. They're wise to the idea of dropping the a2 pawn to get the e-file, but they don't allow it. They play rook to e8. So should they take? I take. They still can't really take because I come in for the king. I guess maybe they could, but then b6 drops and I hold on to this, but then they counterattack. The queen by herself is never going to mate me. I don't know. Now this definitely seems like it could end up being drawish. We get rook to e4. Should I take? They take back. I have a protected passed pawn. They have a protected passed pawn. Theirs is just more advanced than mine is. And with queens on the board, that definitely does matter because it can serve as an anchor point for the queen. Leaving the rook here doesn't seem like a good idea to me at all. So I think I might just take, even though, ooh, why would they take with this pawn? We'll play a3 because d5 is now definitely a weakness. I mean, you could argue that b2, for example, is also a weakness, but d5 seems suspiciously weak. Not to mention, instead of having one big pawn island like they could have had they taken with the D pawn, they have 3 smaller pawn islands, which somehow doesn't seem great. I mean, I will say they didn't give me a passed pawn. They're the only ones with a passed pawn, but there's no way to actually force it through, as far as I can tell. So we'll see how they push this through. Queen to c6. I don't know. I kind of like the concept of pushing my pawn up to g5, just so I always have the enemy king sort of against the ropes. I don't know if that's premature though. I don't know. Let's go king g2. Let's advance little by little until the opponent shows me that there's actually something to be afraid of. I don't think I should lean into anything too rapidly. Let's go queen d3. So queen to f3 isn't possible. King comes out to play. Yeah, they're doing the same. That's what I was talking about earlier. The queen can serve as a pretty pesky anchor point. Okay, what about c4? Should they take? I take. That looks a lot better for me. So I'll do that before they get b5 on the board. Whoa! Hello, Mr. King. Welcome to the game. Check. Oh no, my pawn. Oh no. They can definitely take that and I won't play queen c3. Really strange positions because now king to c6 is kind of forced. Otherwise I would have taken here and then taken the queen. Okay. Now how do I justify playing trappy lines? Check here and then they have to come back and then it's a draw. I could just lean into a draw. That wouldn't be the end of the world. I mean, I would lose 1 point of rating, but trying to fight this for a victory just seems kind of unwise. So we'll play check. If they move the king further back, I take on e4, I get a free pawn. If they do go king to d5, then somehow this works again. Really nice little idea. Really nice, strange little idea to tie together the threefold repetition. They're thinking about it. They're like, do I want to draw or do I want to see if I can bamboozle this guy and get all 9 points of rating? Yeah, they do come back to the center. We will play the check again. They could play something different like king d6, but then I play here and then I will play for a victory. But if they do play king back to c6, then queen c2, and I don't know, very strange ending position, kind of cool. Yeah, king goes back to c6, queen to c2 check, do it one more time, and that is a draw. So queen b3, and we do get threefold repetition. All right, GG's to the opponent. Oh, there's people in chat. It says, thank you, he's surely European. I don't know what the conversation was. I can't see it during the game, so I've only got that tiny end. Okay, Mitochondria Duck says, thank you. Flowchess says he's surely European. Megan says, me, question mark? Flowchess says, yes, question mark. Okay, I don't know why I'm following this random conversation, but they were observing the game, so I feel like this is now my conversation too. Megan denies, not European. Flowchess says, oh. Anyways, if you guys didn't hear, I'll put it up on screen while I do the outro. I don't know why this is so amusing to me. Just having a random conversation in the chat is so funny to me. There's the random conversation happening. Because you say knight. What? Anyways, and I am, whatever. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I would argue that I'm probably pretty close to my true, like, rapid skill level. Because 2 of today's games were draws. I think one of them was a dirty win that I was losing. So I'm probably somewhere around my, true elo. But I do still think it's possible for me to eke out, just a couple, maybe just a dozen more points and run away with that 99.9, and I'll never play rapid again. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. We're this close. I think probably just in the next episode we'll be able to make it, so keep an eye out for that one, and I will see you guys in the next one.